Excellent, awesome, wow. Okay, so Sushi Saga, we're just gonna go through this together. There are gonna be times when I'm like, what should I do next? And like, please assist. I will totally also just like drive, but I feel like that's more boring. Similar to what we did with Hogwarts, were there initial questions or things that got you guys stuck? Shoot.
Showing only 4 items. But
And then the more items thing?
Yeah.
Cool. Tarzi?
Mapping JSX.
Mapping, boo. In JSX. Cool. Anything else in particular that got people like had moment or stumped?
Knowing where to store certain properties.
I.e. state?
Depending on the component. Properties / state.
Okay, yeah, I was like,
Well, the first one stopped me from being able to together.
what?
The first one stopped me from being able to get any of the
Got
others.
you. Did you render all of them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great, because that's the way I normally start it. A lot of times that I've started through this, people are like, oh, so basically short version, I'm gonna go through these and be like, where are the sushi rendered properly received from the server, or is received for server and only for sushi rendered at a time? Me seeing this on a code challenge would be like, that sounds like more than one feature. That sounds like 2. Render every sushi, and then render 4. So I'm gonna just render every single one at first. And then I'll figure out the 4 at a time. So big ups going that way. Before we get into this.
But it doesn't let you get the 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, yes, you definitely can't do 3. You could technically do 4, 5, and 6. But it would get very, very annoying very quickly. So I'm not mad. Plus, in general, like, do the things in order. In the code challenge, like, if there's ever something blocking that isn't actually blocking, like this does block you from doing more sushi. It does not block you from doing this on a code challenge. Like, time box it. If it takes you 20 minutes and you're like, I don't know, and there is a further feature that is not yet bonus that you can do, move, because the thing is your brain will work on it subconsciously and you might come back to it and it'll just click. So yes, before we jump in, and then we're gonna jump in, any more pre-brief, like debrief, comments?
Just the form.
For the wallet? Look at you with the bonus, snaps. I also respect that, because again, I've only seen like once or twice people will do the code challenge and like skip over stuff and start the bonus, and I'm like, but you didn't hit deliverables. Want to know what I can't do now? Even if you did like required deliverable 1 and every single bonus, I can't pass you. Do the required stuff first, please. Again, I've seen it like twice, but the people that did it was just like, logics. Okay, other high level question, and also in like read the readme thing. How many people started running the JSON server from the wrong place? Please read the readme. This is why we tell you to read the readme, because it says.
No, I take it back. I read the JSON server from the right place, and then I opened a new tab in the terminal and started doing the React, and it wasn't working. And later found out that my second terminal didn't switch to that folder.
Okay. So kind of touche. Still human error, but more passable human error. So folks know about PWD, hopefully. Print working directory, the folder you're currently in. I'm not in client, so I'm gonna Sushi Saga client. And in my first one, I'm going to JSON server --watch db.json, sweet, and here I'm going to npm start. JK, I'm gonna npm install. Meanwhile, let's go see what's in there. Cool, so localhost 2000 sushis gives me this array of sushi objects with ID, name, image, underscore URL, price, and created at, which I don't care about. Oh, you're still going?
Yeah.
I was sad there was only 4.
Yeah, there's not that many sushis. When at some point I have time, I will totally go in and add more sushis. I just don't got time like that at this point in my life. Yes.
So you created this?
No, somebody else created this. That doesn't mean that I can't contribute. Also, recommendation for while you're job searching, look for open source like libraries and things that have open issues that you actually like using, and submit PRs. People are really into that. They also like to see that you're contributing to like the general dev environment. Okie doke.
That's all I did.
Now we begin. All right, so get you going, back end, I have that up. I checked this like it told me to just to make sure. Just a base of rice, quite a bit of code to start off with, great. Sushi Saga client directly inside this repo. Inside are all the components you'll need. Component hierarchy should be as follows. App is parent to sushi container and table. Sushi container is parent to both sushi and more button. Cool. Make sure to read all the notes in the components before getting started. They will give you clues as to how and where to manage state and props. 2, just based on honesty, I won't shade you today, I promise. Who made a component hierarchy on the right boards or otherwise to like be able to visualize? Yay! Did it help?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, good. I recommend it to folks that didn't do it. Let's see. And then 2, who actually went through and read a lot of the comments before they started? Oh, sweet. Yay! Good. So like some of them don't have as many comments as these, but like these have mad comments. This one really just endpoint, but like helpful constant.
What did endpoint mean?
It means the endpoint, the URL you're hitting for your database. So like you'll fetch to that endpoint.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yep, that's all that means.
That was
You'll want to know like keywords like API and endpoint. You will want to know like have off top of it. Those are really key terms to be able to parse through. Also endpoint. All right, so render sushi components here, helper, which is then going to tell me, let me go see my sushi component. Yikes, there's a lot of stuff in here. So this thing, the plate needs a callback. Tell me if sushi has been eaten. I'm guessing it's going to replace this false. Image source, give me a name, give me a price. Cool, lots of stuff to fill out here. Okay. Because you guys read all the comments, I'm not going to go through and pre-read all the comments. Deliverables. Inspectors will be coming by to check our patented Sushi Saga conveyor belt. Oh no! Sushi list is properly received from the server. We're going to render some sushis and not be worried about 4 at a time. Where did folks fetch and keep state, keep all their sushis?
I did it in sushi container. Oh wait, no. Fetch wasn't there.
Okay. So, like always, anytime we're getting something from the back end, we need to store it on our front end, we're going to immediately think state. And I know this thing is going to be an array, so I'm going to make its default state an array. And then on our component did mount, that's where we put all of our fetches. I'm going to fetch API dot then per use res.json. JSON dot then data. This dot set state sushi.
Sushi's probably.
Are you guys good with sushis? Because I've had some people.
Sushi.
I did sushi.
I
It's actually sushi.
we're keeping it sushi. This is too much.
Sushi. Now, the only reason why I did different is because the URL that you're getting it from says Sushi's.
Okay, that's a good reason. We're gonna go with sushis.
I have spelling sushi though, like S-U-C-H, but it's sushi.
A lot of people have actually done that. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna console log this dot state and make sure we're getting the sushis. Like step by step, just like it has it. First deliverable, received from the server. Cha-bam! 0, first time through, component mounted, does my fetch. I got a whole 100 of these babies in there. Excellent. Okay, so now.
Been 40 minutes on the tango.
What?
Sorry, I was just,
For the fetch?
no, so now, spend 40 minutes.
Oh,
on
yes,
Stack
yes. Absolutely, definitely do that. during mod 5. So this is where they get kind of helpful with these guys. Render sushi components here. So I don't want to render all the sushi components here. It's already rendering me a sushi container, but I've got to get my sushi info from state down to sushi container. So I'm just going to make that a prop. And I'm keep it hella consistent. If it's sushi's on state, it's going to be sushi's as a prop. And now sushi container has props.sushis. For then rendering this, what did folks do here? Question?
Yeah, I was confused a little bit because, I guess I'm going with the dogmatic fervor or whatever, but isn't a container usually a class?
Yes, and maybe that will at some point need to become a class. But do not, unless you can do it super fast, do not convert things from functional to class during the code challenge because you're wasting time, unless you need to. Like at this point, I have no reason to think that I need state or lifecycle methods, so I'm just gonna let it be.
Should we take it as kind of like a hint of the code challenge? Like the things that are functional probably shouldn't be carrying state?
Do not take that for granted.
Okay.
Um,
I was using that on this one, and I was like, oh, app's the only one that's class, so I'm gonna put all my state in here.
I mean, like,
the logic I don't think.
Yeah.
pretty oftentimes. Also, like if it's, so this is what technically like a grandparent, like app is top level and then it renders sushi container and then sushi container renders sushi and more buttons. So I'm gonna call this like the grandparent. If the grandparent is already a class and like, and it's the top level, you could just put all the state things there. Is that gonna make your stuff real ugly sometimes? Yes. If it makes you work faster for the 90 minutes, go for it. And like again, if you are beast mode at converting these things from function to class and like really want to do it and it's not going to waste time, I'm not going to tell you no. But if you're like, if I had 3 more minutes and you converted everything unnecessarily, I'm going to be like, those were your 3 minutes. I'm going to tell you. The time is a time. Okay, doke. So what did folks do here? This is where it had that comment to render the sushis. Off what? Cool. Individual sushi. And what does it give us back? What should this return?
Sushi component.
A sushi component. Sushi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's what it's what I did.
Security word.
It did it for me. So
Not for us.
it doesn't always do it super reliably. But when I went to type sushi here, and you see how like this highlighting here is, it's like alias, const, sushi. It knows which file that definition is in. So you hit enter, it automatically imports it for you, which is so nice. Stuff is tripping though. So I'm guessing that actually shows on this page tool. I'm not even gonna pass anything into sushi. I just want this to stop breaking. And it says JSX attributes must be only assigned a non-empty expression and is pointing me to source. So I'm gonna say this means that it hates that source is empty technically. And I'm gonna go like this. What up? No breaking. Cool. What does our page look like? Cool! Got a whole bunch of plates with no information. Okay. Oh, okay. So, y'all good with us just doing this? So we're going to destructure our sushi object so that all of its keys becomes props to our sushi component. So whatever keys exist in this baby are now props here. And I can actually right click, console log, dis my props. We just check it out. Check it out. So props looks exactly like what the sushi object is itself. ID 98, name, kawaii tobiko. Image, that thing. Price created at exactly the same object, effectively. So I'm gonna leave this because that's not a part of my props. However, the image source we now have, props dot, I think it was formatted like that. This was props dot name, I think, and just props dot price. And if this works, bam, hey, party. how I feel. Is it yelling about key? It is yelling about key somewhere, right? Yeah, it should. Great. Key equals, and now we have an ID thing, I think. Great. So I can make those actually all unique keys. Excellent. You're gonna go away. Okay. Now we get into that for sushi thing. How did folks go about this if you got there? What was your thought process? Slice and dice, yeah. So if you have an array, we can slice off of it. But what do we need to know in order to do the slice? Some starting index. Where are we starting from? Cool. Question?
No, I was gonna say, don't you also want to make it in state?
Why?
Because it updates, you gotta get more sushi.
Yeah. We want index on state so we can update it. We can change it as we hit that more button. So I am actually going to change this to a class. I suppose
Whoa.
you could do it here.
Really made it seem like we weren't gonna change that.
Red herrings across the board. So you could do it here. I feel like it makes more sense to do it here because this is where we're actually mapping and creating the sushi thing. So I feel like keeping that behavior as close to where it's rendered makes me happy. Plus, then I can, what? Oh, this was cost before. It's also not. So we're gonna go through it right quick. So const becomes class. This whole equals props functional bit goes away. Extends react dot component. And then inside of here, start your render, open, close curly brackets, and bring everything that used to be, including that return, into your render. And then any place you had props needs to become this.props. And that is your whole transition from function to class. Let's just make sure we didn't break it. Sweet, no broken, no broken. All right. And now we can add our state. So I'm gonna say start index, start it at 0. It's gotta be 0 at first. And then I can do some slice and dice. So I'm gonna say let display sushi equal this.props.sushi.slice this.state.start index, and I believe this takes the number of items.
You could do start index plus 4.
Oh, I might be thinking Python.
Yeah, you could do that.
So does it takes starting index and ending index?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it takes start index and index. And then where I was mapping over all of them before.
It doesn't take the end index. It does 0, 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't do.
Oh, okay.
Start index and
And then like
first
four.
not take
So if you
any
do
index.
0, 4, it's gonna show you.
It'll do 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
It'll take a 4,
Start end.
but it won't do index 4.
Right.
Okay. So it's not inclusive, it's exclusive. Okay. Exclusive and index.
But if you only put 1, then it's inclusive of that number.
Ah, okay. Look, I'm gonna look at the docs.
I mean, that's fine. This works.
Yeah,
This
you only
works.
put 1.
Yeah, that's fine. This is perfect.
But also still, look at the docs. And like, I will fully admit, slice is one of those that I periodically, because different languages use the same word slice, but then do it differently, then I'm like, wait, is JS one where it gives you start and number, or start and end? Look at the docs, it's fine. Okay, so now displayed sushi is going to replace mapping over all of the sushis. And now I should just see 4 of them. Nope. Oh. I'm gonna wait for y'all to see it. Yep. Plural. Pluralization matters. That will be the bane of your existence. At some point you will have a typo and it will take you 30 minutes to figure out. That's real. Whoop! Just four. Happy day. Okay. Now we've got to create the actual handler to change this. Our callback here. So I'm going to say update index. And I'm just going to have it move that by 4 every time. Did anybody use functional set state per chance? Yay! You don't have to. But because we are basing this off of state, as you get more comfortable, you'd want to start using that functional set state. I'm not going to do that here in case it's just like, by the way, for folks watching this later, I pretended my brain was exploding. So the version of writing this in functional set state would be, yeah, it's a pre-state thing. What's RIP?
I did like also some nasty stuff with the API because I didn't even think this.
Oh, did you like paginate the request for the URL?
Kind of, yeah.
That's cool. I mean, also sounds like way more difficult than this version, but also very cool to learn though, because you will start hitting APIs that are gonna require pagination to be more effective. Okay, so we've got this defined now, but what actually calls it? The more button. So it needs to go down here. Update index, update index. This dot update index. Cool. And then we need to actually open up more button to put this baby to use. On click, fill me in. Thank you, helpful notes. Props dot update index. Do we think this will work? A lot of time when I ask that, I legitimately don't know if I've like done everything that needs to happen for this to work. What up? Break. But if you read the README, don't worry about it. Don't be concerned about what happens when you reach the end of the list. We can build that one very quickly at the end of this. Okay, so we're halfway through. Cool. I'm so hyped, and y'all are not hyped at all. It made me so sad. Okay, 4. Clicking a sushi on a plate will eat the sushi, causing it to be removed from its plate and an empty plate to appear on the table. How did folks handle that? So I'm gonna close out more button, that's done. Bye. But now we're getting to this like on click for the plate and has the sushi been eaten and how are we tracking that?
In like my fetch function, before putting it in the state, I added a like eaten.
Mm-hmm.
So every sushi had a.
And set it, I'm guessing, to false initially. So I'm not gonna have us add it here because if, say, we had a sushi that is just like name, Tobiko, price, 10, let my sushi equal, if I do my sushi dot eaten and that key doesn't exist, what does this return? Which is falsy. Since that's falsy, I'm not gonna bother to add the key yet, because that's more effort, because if I check for eaten to begin with, it's always gonna be false anyway. But when I then eat a sushi, when I click on its plate, I can add in a key, which is pretty sweet. So I like that management of this, is that we're gonna keep sushis here, this array, being one source of truth for every single sushi object. Is it eaten? Is it not? All of that's going to live in each object that lives in this array, not someplace else. I could see you being like, but could it be stayed on the sushi? And you can change it to a class. The reason I shy away from that is because then you have separate pieces to have to figure out what is the state of the sushi. I have, whether it's eaten or not, living here, but I have all of the rest of the information living on app. And I'd rather have everything in one place.
So what did you do in sushi container with state?
Sushi container with state, the only thing in its state is the index.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All of the sushi information is just coming from app and passed down as props to it.
Yeah, I just don't know why you would have state in two different places. If that's all that was for, like, why go through the trouble?
Because rule of thumb is to keep state in the closest ancestor necessary for all the places that need it.
Okay.
And the two things that need more button are realistically like sushi container itself to pick which sushis are going to be displayed and more button.
Okay.
So this is the most recent ancestor that needs it. If table needed it, then I'd move it up for sure because I'd have to.
Gotcha.
And part of it's also just like having to pass down props. Right now we don't have very many. Once you have like a lot of state and a lot of props, it gets very unwieldy very quickly. Okay, so that's gonna live up here. Then this is also where our method to update that sushi has to be. So I'm gonna write a method, eat sushi. And so what information am I going to need to figure out which sushi I just ate? The ID. So that's gonna come in here. That's the dynamic bit my function needs to handle. And then I can do some nice set state things. I've got to reset sushis to be, leave that as an underscore right now, and do some calculation above. Do you guys remember me showing you how you could use map to update just a single sushi?
Kind of the filter.
Kind of. I mean, yes, it's clearly happening now. Okay. So I'm going to say if sushi.id is equal to ID. Oh, wait. This needs to be... curly bracket. You go in here. So if I found the sushi with the right ID, I want to set sushi.eaten to be true. I'm going to add this key onto the object, but I'm the dev. I do what I want. And in any which case, I'm going to return sushi. So now, being OCD, now new sushis is an array where all the sushis I wasn't paying attention to are the exact same object.
This.state.sushis.map.
Oh, thank you. Good catch. If I hit the sushi with the right ID, I just reset the one key and also return it. So they stay in the exact same order. The only one that's modified at all is the one with the right ID.
If we use find, we would update the key only that sushi, so we need to add it back to the array.
So find is a multi-step process. Because what find is going to return you is the actual object at that location. So like, so this would get me the actual object that is my sushi. I would still need to know which index it's in, make the change to my sushi, put it in the index. So there's actually like, that is multi-step of what you need to do. And I would typically encourage you to do find by index maybe? Get the index so that you can just update that version. Yeah, it's find index. If you can get comfortable with this, I would get comfortable with the shorthand. It will in the end make your life a little bit easier because this is going to be the same format regardless of anything you're doing. Anytime you're working with an array of objects and need to update just one and have an identifier, this is going to be the easiest way to do it. And this format is going to work for everything of like map over, find your condition, do the update, regardless, return the object.
So,
Shoot and then shoot.
like, if you have like a eat sushi function that you pass down to each sushi, and instead of passing in just ID, you use that function, the callback function, to pass props when you have the whole object.
Oh, if you pass the whole representation of the sushi?
Yeah.
You could. You could, instead of ID here, tell it to take in the whole sushi object. You would still need to find the index it was in, up in state, to be able to update it, its representation.
And also, like,
Still the same issue.
you could recreate it from props, but it's not actually like the sushi object exactly.
Just
It's
give you-
less reliable that way, because then you're making an assumption that like you did pass literally the sushi object, all of its keys, and only its keys as props. So there's some assumptions in there that you're making. Versus relying on what did it already look like and some specific identifier to figure out which object it was. You got a question?
Why do you have to return the object?
The original array. So you have to return the object because now we're inside of a arrow function that is not implicitly returning. It's explicitly returning. And map needs to have a callback that returns something to put into the new array. So it takes one array, takes a callback, and returns you a new array. And inside of that callback, you have to explicitly return what you want to go into the same location in the new array.
Or else
It's just undefined. It'll be a whole series of undefined. If you want to talk through maps behavior after, we can grab time and do some examples. Okay. I see more hands. One more. And then I want to actually like watch this work, like pass it down to where it needs to go and prove that it actually works to you guys.
So when you said still need to know which index it's in to put it back in that spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the look on your face was nuts. Did a lot of people do more of this method of like find or find index?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna code it out like right quick, and then I'll talk through it. I think if I try to talk while I code it, it's gonna take longer. So I'll code it out real quick, then we'll talk through it, and then I want to start moving on the behavior. So this is gonna come back down here. Okay, so my sushi, I'm gonna say index. This .c-sushis, it was find index. Great, thanks. So sushi, where sushi ID is equal to ID, cool. So let my sushi copy equal ... this state sushis my sushi index, which this ends up being an object, so I'm creating a copy of it here, and then I'm going to say each in is true. I can make a copy and pass in a new key, and it'll give me a whole new object. And so now I can say let new sushis equal, I'm gonna make a copy of this state sushis, that array, so that I'm not modifying this original array. And then I'm gonna say new sushis at my sushi index is equal to my sushi copy. And then I can set state. So walking through this line by line. First thing I gotta do, find the index of the target sushi. Copy its object and add each in true. Create a copy of the original array. Update the sushi at the index to my modified copy. each and true. Because the thing about using regular find is it gets you a copy or it gets you that object, but it doesn't tell you where to put it at this point. And you've got to know where is it supposed to go in the array. Pregnant? Okay.
Can't you like do the second line over there and the fourth and combine them? My sushi copy is new sushi.
Oh, couldn't I just like,
Yeah.
yes. I thought that that would be more of a headache for the other people in the room and also maybe myself. That's just harder for me to read and be like, what is that again? But yes, you could do that in one line for sure. I'm gonna comment this guy out. Without map shortcut / using array.find index. So I'll keep these in here as notes. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So can we pass this down and watch it work? And this becomes ID again, because that was totally gonna break. Okay, so it needs to get down to an individual sushi, which means it has to go through sushi container. Eat sushi equals this dot eat sushi. Has to go through sushi container. I'm literally gonna copy this, sorry guys. Eat sushi goes down to each individual sushi. Go figure. Eat sushi. All right, and then that means in each individual sushi, give me a callback. So we can reference that from here, but I've got to pass it in some things, right? Props.id. Is this fine?
No.
Why not?
Pass,
This is an invocation, not a function. Bam! So we make an anonymous function, and now it is not an invocation. It is actually a function that can be called when this is clipped. Excellent. Let's see. I'm just gonna call select that here, the ID, so we can kind of see this working. Refresh, because I can. 16, 14. And it's actually printing out my new array, so I think I can probably pretty quickly. Each and true. Each and true. Which means now we also have a way to get it to conditionally render. I've got more information on my sushi object now. I can use this key to determine that. So what should I change this false to, friends? Spot on. So this is going to be props.eaten. Just like I had props.name, props.price, props.id, I can use this props.eaten here. Now, is anyone wondering, like, but what about the first time through? No?
No, you said it'll.
Okay. Just making sure that that connected. When there is no eaten thing, it's just undefined, therefore falsy. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, hey, hey, woo, hype.
You got money remaining.
Who knows how much?
I got money. I got money. I don't have nearly enough money, but it's New York City. Who does? Millionaires. Okay. Was that where we needed to be for this one? Mo sushi. Clicking the sushi will eat the sushi, causing it to be removed from its plate and an empty plate to appear on the table. How did folks handle that, if you got there, the empty plate?
Made an array in the state app that was like eating sushi. And then when I called that function, like when you click on a sushi, and I like push that sushi into the eating sushi's array.
Ah.
And it like eating sushi's dot length for like the, or whatever. That was like the array that I put in for the method on the table that like does the number of plates.
Yay.
Yeah.
You made a new function for it?
No, they give you a function.
Where?
In the table.
Oh, in table?
They give you a function that takes an array
Hints. Awesome. Okay. And so it just does array map index. Cool. So it's just mapping. So it just needs the right number of stuff in the array. Like doesn't even look at what X is. It does not care. Cool. Okay. So you're saying is in addition to setting sushis in here, you also do eaten sushis? And then you add in, I'm gonna add in the ID, because that's what I got right here. Yeah, you gotta do the spread operator. So use the spread operator to make sure you keep everything that was already in there, and then you can add in a new item to your array.
You also use push.
Does push modify the original array?
Yeah. Oh, so that would.
I guess you can make it.
Oh, because then that would like violate using set state, right?
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
I believe it does modify the original one, so you don't want to do it that way. Like, would it actually error out? Probably not. The behavior would be fine, but it's not best practices. Shoot.
So this is an array of IDs?
It will be, yes. I'm just gonna put the ID in there. And the reason that I know that I can do that is because looking over at the table with this helper method that it gives us, that iterates over an array, it doesn't actually look at the item in the array. It doesn't care what's in there. So our array just has to have the right number of like whatever inside of it. So I'm just gonna pop the numbers in there.
So when you said you had access to ID,
So in the scope, thank you for pushing my language. In the scope of this method,
oh, you're still in that method. The comments are messing with me. Okay.
oh, okay.
That's fine. I
okay.
just needed to know why we still have access to it.
Because we're still inside of the scope of this method, and its ID is still there. Shoot.
So you say that the table doesn't care which sushi it is because it's just an empty plate? Is that-
The only thing that it's counting on is an array of the correct length. So they can make a plate for each thing. Okay. So now what does this mean? What needs to go down to table as props then? Great, thanks. Eat 10 sushis. This is actually legitimately making me hungry. I think everyone should go for sushi after Code Challenge
Is that
on
a
Wednesday.
conference?
I mean, have you been to Mighty Quinn's?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I am still mostly vegan, but if you eat barbecue and meat and have not tried Mighty Quinn's, try Mighty Quinn's. It's scrumptious. Okay, so then the only thing we need to update in here is this hard-coded array that was down inside of render plates needs to become props.eaten sushis. Sushis, plural. And now, as I click eat sushi, it's gonna run my eat sushi. I'm gonna get rid of this ID. It will calculate my new sushis and then set state with those new sushis so that object is changed and add its ID to the eaten sushis array, which will prompt a re-render of our app component, which passes eaten sushis down to table, and then table will take this array, use its helper method render plates to render the right number of empty plate divs.
Where is it called dot?
It's not calling dot length. So it's utilizing this like nice map like we do for each sushi component. And it's just saying for each thing in the array, make one of these empty plate divs. Yeah, it's not using the length at all. So that's one of the tricky things about React is your instinct might be like, I just want to get a dot length, like a number, and then be able to like in Ruby, like 5 times dot do, whatever. In React, arrays are the nice way to be able to do a certain thing a number of times.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's watch this baby work. Work, 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 work. Oh, each child. Work, work. And then we can actually check out Eaten Sushis has 321487. Apparently that's the order in which I ate them. I don't know what to tell you. I eat in weird orders. All right, and then we get this warning. Each child in a list should have a unique key prop at table. The people that made this did it terribly. How dare they? Bye. No, you're okay. I just had to. Are you good? Didn't you also need to?
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, cool.
Gonna be a little late.
Cool. All right, where we at, y'all? Money. We need to make the money. Wherever a sushi is eaten, a customer should be automatically charged. Based on a budget decided by you, the developer, the amount of money remaining should go down by the cost of the sushi that was eaten. There is a spot to display this number in the table component. So, where do we think the budget should live? Porque.
Because we're dealing with,
Do 105.
Oh, because like the tables shall be at.
105.
Because otherwise we'll be left with $5 after eating all the sushi.
That's not true.
Maybe that's for your tip.
Wait, did you go through and like do like I mean, technically if you buy only the $10 ones, you'll be fine. There will be no money left. Depends on which ones you buy.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I was clicking around and that's the deal.
The optimal budget is 105. So.
Consistently gets it.
The good news I have where if they clean their plates, they get $5 back. So.
Oh, I mean, that is realistically how these places work, is like you gotta eat it all. I wish they gave you money back if you ate it all though, even if it was like one of those food challenges. God, I'm so hungry. Okay, so the reason it should be here, multifaceted. So one, it's gotta be able to get down to table, but table isn't the only thing that needs to know about it. We also have to be able to modify the budget when I eat something. So I want it in the same place as where this is defined. So let's see. So now I need some conditional logic. So only if a sushi's price is less than our current budget can we do anything.
So you don't want to be able to eat the sushi twice if it's already eaten.
Touche. Okay, so I want a few different conditionals in here. How do we want to do this, friends? There's multiple ways we could do this. Way one, pass in additional info to eat sushi, a la ID, price, eaten, or find the sushi and check its price and eaten that way. There's always more than one way to do things in JavaScript, I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna pass in. Bing. So we're also gonna say, I also need to know the price now, I need to know if it was eaten. Because, so I have two cases. If price is less than or equal to this.state.budget and not eaten, then I do all of this stuff. In my else case, I just don't do that stuff. Only when it's not eaten and its price is low enough do we do all this stuff. But now we've got to do one more thing too, right? We've got to actually change the budget. This.state.budget minus price.
And now we need to go back to sushi and pass in the
Spot on. I have to go change how this is used. Props.price, props.eaten. The one thing about doing this way is now you have to make sure that you know the order of your arguments, so you're always passing it in the exact same way. Sometimes, especially once you get into your jobs, you'll see folks write this instead. No, this isn't gonna let me do this nicely. Nope. You'll see folks write this instead as an object.
Why not just pass the whole, we have the whole props?
You could. Then you would still essentially have to, you'd still want to write it this way as an object and make sure that your function definition is handling it wrong component as an object with these three. I'm going to, for now, for time's sake, leave this as expecting 3 props in the order ID, price, eaten. Oh, you want to know what I didn't do? Pass it down to table or budget. Let's do that.
Or, sorry, like another design pattern.
If it's brief, because we're already over.
Well, you could also just pass the ID and then just look up the other things from that, right?
Yep, absolutely. And that's,
That was the other choice.
yeah, that was second choice, which I like pushed us through pretty quickly because we're already over time. But yes, you could absolutely, instead of having this take more, just keep the ID, because then you can look it up from App State and then just check price and eaten from there. That's dev choice. A lot of stuff is dev choice. It like really truly is. Okay, how much money I got left is now props.budget. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Listen, if I have money left at the end of this, and look, it doesn't let me. It doesn't let me. It doesn't let me. It doesn't let me. I swear, I'm clicking.
You should do a house.
See what you did there. See what you did there. You want me to else alert? Be like, you don't got no cash?
Yeah, I'll send you a.
Get more money. More sushi. Less problems. True. Okay, now I gotta do this right quick so we can get more money, more sushi, less problems. I don't know how y'all deal with me. What did you send me?
Replace that code with that line.
Oh, Jeebus, what channel am I in? Oh, this is fine.
Oh, no, you saw it. Dang it.
Oh, yeah. Wait, but I really like this though. How do I?
Should I send it as a code snippet?
That might be better because I think it might try to. Oh, no, that might have actually worked. Why is it so mad about? Wait, did it put 2 of them? I think it put 2 of them.
Yeah, I sent you the code snippet.
JK. I also like how this is what we do.
Priority.
Prioritize. Justin's gonna be like, you were late for the meeting. Why? Because I was having fun with my students. I do what I want. I'm so hungry right now. You guys can probably hear my stomach grumbling. That's great. Technically, we handled this poorly because it also happens when I just click a plate that's empty when I still have enough money. We should do that better, but we're not doing that right now. I think you guys should make that better because I'm fully pushing this so you guys can like play. Oh, and we did no free meals all at the one time. Okay, because I'm going to be a rebel. Y'all want to do full rotation right quick and then be done? Or are you like, we done now?
Full rotation.
Full rotation, so when we get to the end of more sushi and it just like empty,
Yeah, I want to see it.
we can make it start from the beginning.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Okay. Okay, where did that live again? Sushi container? Yeah? Okay, so short version is when we're updating the index, if our start index is what?
96.
96, but I want to make it more dynamic than that. What if I don't know how many sushis I'm getting? So I can do it based on this.props.sushis.length. So I can do a conditional if this.state.start index is greater, let's say it's greater than maybe -4. So if the start index is greater than 4 from the end, this.setState start index. I always somehow have a rogue P places and I don't know how. That sounded weird. Ignoring that. Do. And then we else. Bye. Swink.
But aren't you gonna lose the last few?
Yeah.
I shouldn't in theory because of the way that slicing gets those last 4. But we can test this out. Like typically when I do some stuff like this, I'm like, I don't know if this condition is quite the right condition. we gonna see what happens. So it's actually console log this dot state dot start index, and we just gonna test it. I mean, there are some folks who are like honestly more strategic than I and like are prepared to do this mentally first. I'm like, nope, that was wrong. So we got to 96, and then we start from the beginning. So my condition is slightly off. It gave me one clear screen.
You gotta make it 92.
Or maybe if I just do greater than or equal to.
Yeah. But
Wrong side? Wrong side. Yeah.
That works because you have a length that's divisible by 4. Like,
That is true. I would have to be more careful about what that condition is. It might be
I'm
better.
like smashing my head against this problem, but like, "Ooh, you can't do that."
Realistically, what probably better is to be like, what would probably be better TBH is to do like next index is start index plus 4 and be like, if next index is greater than this dot props dot sushis dot length, or maybe there might need to be like a -1 somewhere in there,
Yeah.
then next index set it to 0. That should be an equal, and then this dot set state.
But then you make it a page where you have less than 4 sushi shown. That's okay.
I think so,
But
yeah.
I'm doing
Because
like a conveyor belt, you know, like.
you trying to get too fancy, I'm gonna let you do that.
Oh, great.
But also something that you should look into if you're interested in that is linked lists and circular linked lists. They are an algorithmic bane of my existence.
I kind of just created an array where you sliced off the first one.
I broke it.
Put it at the end.
Maybe. I'm sorry, now I'm really sad because I broke it. Okay, we're gonna do this one more time. Do 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 do. There we go. That's better. But yeah, if you want to overachiever, and if there's 101 sushis, have that next page, have the last one and the first 3. I support you from afar. That's definitely not happening up here right now because that's gonna require some like just architecture, like architecting this project in ways that just like I don't need in my life right now.
I will totally validate that it feels complicated.
Yes, that one feels extra super duper complicated. Though I suppose you could probably negative index off of that pretty nicely. Like,
Well, the thing is, yeah.
like figure out the difference between your current index and the end, and then find the corresponding.
And grab them and then like offset the next.
Yeah. Okay, we're having too much fun now. Okay, I'm fully late to a meeting, so I'm not going to take any more questions, but I will be back on the floor probably about 5:45. Appreciate you guys. Goodbye.